Hello, witches. Yes, it is Wednesday. It is time for the Witches Movie Coven as everything on my desk falls to the floor. I am Patti Negri. I am one of your hosts. You might recognize me from The Witching Hour, from Ghost Adventures, from all the goats that hang around with me. But I am one of many on this co-hosting. Let me introduce you before I come back to here to my beautiful co-host, starting with Richard-Lael.
Hello, I am Richard-Lael. Richard-Lael is one name, not two. If I were just Richard, I would be a. That's right. I am Richard-Lael. I am a gentleman psychic. I'm a psychic and a medium. I used to be a psychic and a small, but I gained some weight. Before we go too much further, if you are enjoying the show, hit the like, hit the subscribe, do the comments. We appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so very much.
Yes, thank you. Jason.
I'm Jason Mankey. You might recognize me from the back of book covers, such as High Priest Raymond Buckland, the father of American witchcraft, and several other books.
Thank you very much. Heather with the hair.
I let my hair do its 80 thing today. I am Heather Greene. I am the author of Lights, Camera, Witchcraft, A Critical History of Witches in American Film and Television. I am an editor at Llewellyn Worldwide and a journalist covering all things occult and magic in the media. And I'm excited to be here tonight, as always.
Thank you. Thank you. And yes, our books, my latest from Llewellyn, Dollcraft. Check it out, Haunted Dolls. But we have no Haunted Dolls tonight. We have no Courtney tonight, which we are sad to say, but we are thrilled to say we have filling in for her the beautiful Scarlet Amaris. Welcome, Scarlet.
Hi, thank you for having me again. I'm Scarlet Amaris. I am a screenwriter, and I am now actually a music video director. And a lot of the films that I have written have to do with witchcraft. Seems to be my specialty. I also teach it and practice it.
Bunch of witches in this room, I tell you. Witches in this room. And none of us got taken up yesterday, so we're all here because we had to be here for today. No rapture for us because we got goats we have to take care of. Today's movie, we are doing Highlander, the 1986 film Highlander. A lot of swords. Hopefully you guys watched it, but just in case you did not watch it, Richard-Lael, do you have a complete and thorough, unbiased synopsis of this lovely?
I have an unbiased one. I think that one's even better. So yes, we are here. You are here. I am here. We are here. We did not get raptured away yesterday. However, watching this film might enrapture you in another way. But who wants to live forever anyway, right? You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Ba-boom.
So here's the story. Imagine a world where it's Scotland sometime 400 years ago. 400 years ago from 1986, 400 years ago. And in this clan, the MacLeod clan, end up by fighting against the Hatfields, or was it the McCoys? I don't remember. But they fight against this other clan, and then a guy comes up wearing a plastic sword. I mean, a plastic helmet, and runs our hero through because, you know, guys in plastic helmets really are scary and dangerous. So he ends up by being unalive. But then he's also undead. He comes back and they want to burn him as a witch because why not? It's, you know, Scotland 400 years ago. And then come to find out he can't die. So he comes back. He's been banished from his village. He meets the love of his life. They are in love. They get together. And then he meets Sean Connery. Sean Connery says he has to break up with this girl to leave her behind because I have sights on you, young man, is what he says. He doesn't say that, but he does say, you may not take our life, but you'll never have our freedom, or something like that. Anyway, he tells him that he has to leave. He has to leave this woman. And so lo and behold, he stays with her until she dies of old age at the ripe old age of 32, because that was how old she looked in her old age makeup. Meanwhile, this other guy in the plastic helmet he keeps coming back to kill, and then Sean Connery and they have crossed their streams, and they have had a sword measuring contest, and the guy in black then ends up by giving it to Sean Connery, and I've never been more jealous in my life. Anyway, so then fast forward to the future, which is 1985 in the film, and he is at a pro wrestling match because, of course, he is. Why not? In New York City. Here he is, an antique dealer at a pro wrestling match because he doesn't have enough PTSD. Meanwhile, he has these flashbacks, and then he goes into the parking garage where a sword fight ensues, and then he escapes in the Porsche that he stole from, oh goodness, what was his name? Smoldering Eyes, 1950s. I had it and I forgot his name. Red jacket, died in a Porsche. Oh, never mind.
James Dean?
James Dean. He steals the Porsche from James Dean, and then he gets caught by the police. Meanwhile, a policewoman has fallen in love with him, and then you have flashback after flashback where, of course, in modern times, the only music that ever comes on all of the radios, even the bad guy, everyone plays Queen, and I have no problems with that. Anyway, the guy, there's a lot of fighting, sword measuring contests, and then, of course, the bad guy is vanquished. He ends up by falling in love with someone else, and now he can live forever because why not? That's sort of the end until you have the series, I guess. That's it.
Thank you. Thank you. Now that we have that complete rundown, there might be a little bit more to have, though. Heather, do you have 5 more things that we need to know about this movie?
Sure, I'll give you a few things. This is one of those movies that became a cult film or a cult movement, so to speak. So there's a lot of stuff out there, and researching things to talk about. I mean, we could have done a million things. So I'm just going to keep this kind of brief and short. And truth be told, I had a very busy day, so I couldn't go down rabbit holes the way I usually do. So we'll just talk about the movie first. Highlander, released in 1986. Of course, this was right in the middle of, or the beginning really for Hollywood, of its satanic panic time. I'll talk about that context in a second. It is directed by Russell McKay, and it was written originally by George Wyden. While he was at UCLA, it was a script he wrote. And then he sold it, and it turned into this. He had gone on a vacation in Scotland or something and saw this and said, hey, I got a great idea. What if? So that's the way a lot of good stories start, when someone sees something and goes, hey, what if? There are various different cuts to this. You can watch a director's cut. You can watch the European cut, which is different. The international cuts were different. It actually did better when it initially came out in 86 internationally than it did here in the US. In the US, it was just, mid. People didn't really love it. It grossed a little over 5 million, I think. I have the number somewhere on my paper. It grossed about 5,700,000 about. I didn't adjust that for inflation, so those are 86 numbers. In Europe, though, it grossed over 12 million on its initial release. However, why did it get second and third and fourth? I think there's 4 original films and then a TV show. Why did it get that? Because once it hit VHS, it became immensely popular. And so, this was a time for those people who did not live in the 80s and the late 70s. This was the VHS's heyday, its golden era. Everybody was going to video stores, renting. This is the emergence of Blockbuster, although we had local ones in the 80s were before Blockbuster. So VHS was really a big thing. A lot of movies were actually released straight to VHS, which has really made some movies, especially cult films, when they don't do well in the theater and then they go to VHS and they get watched and then remade, some directly to VHS, and they become what this movie has become. So that's really 2 and 1 and 2. Now let's talk about context. So I just want to give you guys who have been here, remind you of something I talk about whenever we see these kind of sword films. This is considered a sword and sorcery film, or a high high fantasy sort of. It's more sword and sorcery than high fantasy. We don't have kings and queens and knights. That's usually high fantasy, but it has those elements. But it is in one of these sort of has a sword and sorcery feel to it with the swords and the fighting and the story that's happening here is this man who's lifted up. He finds out he's magical. He has to go and conquer the person who's stronger than him. This is very much a sword and sorcery feel to it. Think back to the 80s. For those who were around in the early 80s, this was the sword and sorcery film heyday. You had things like Conan the Barbarian, Beastmaster, Dragon Slayer. You had Star Wars, which really is a sword and sorcery film dressed as a sci-fi film or a series of films. You had other ones like
Krull.
What was that?
Krull.
Yes, Krull. We did Time Bandits, which has that feel too. This was a really, really big time for these type of epic fantasy, high fantasy, sword and sorcery. So that's what you're getting here. This is before witchcraft films come back in full blast in the late 80s, and we get into the Satanic Panics, really engaged with the Satanic Panic films. I'm just going to mention a couple of the actors, not too many of them. Of course, Christopher Lambert. This was his second English film, so he was still learning English while he was in this movie. He is a French actor, and he also, the first English movie he did was Greystoke. I don't know if anyone ever saw that one. Clancy Brown, he was in a ton of things. You may have seen him all over the place. A few things you might know him in from Shawshank Redemption. I got it that time. Starship Troopers. John Wick 4, apparently, if you like the John Wick series. More recently, Ahsoka, he was in that as well. There's a ton of them. I could sit here all night. Of course, Sean Connery. Now, how do we summarize Sean Connery in 30 seconds? You can't. He is most known probably for being the best Bond, in my opinion, the Bond. Of course, he was also in films like The Rock, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Great film, The Hunt for Red October. Please watch that one. The Name of the Rose, Time Bandits, Marnie, my least favorite of the Hitchcock films. And he is also really also known for bit pieces on Saturday Night Live. So we have the great Sean Connery, who is the late Sean Connery, died in 2020, unfortunately. There he is. How could you not love him? And the only other one I'll mention is Roxanne Hart, the woman that he falls in love with the second time. And I just have to mention, she wasn't in a whole lot of things. I looked her up, but she was in Oh God, You Devil, if you saw that at that time. And I also, I can't stop calling her Roxy Hart. And if you know why why I call her Roxy Hart, there's music that keeps going through my head every time
all that jazz.
I was like, that can't be her name for real. Anyway, that's a musical person's thing. So finally, I'm going to get to the music aspect of it. And this is really going to be a two-parter here. So first, of course, I do want to actually point out, this is the other interesting thing I found out, that Christopher Lambert was not the first person chosen for it. They wanted Mark Singer to do it. So he turned it down or wasn't available. They went through they wanted Kurt Russell, Michael Douglas. I'm reading the names off. Kevin Costner, Mickey Rourke, of all people. I don't know if he would have done that. Patrick Swayze and Mel Gibson were all considered for the role.
All of them would have been better.
Some of them would have been better. Yeah, there's a few of them on there that would have been better. I could have seen that. But anyway, let's get to the music, because I know that's what we're all waiting for, I think. So Sting was considered for this, but of course Queen did the soundtrack. There is no soundtrack actually published for this movie. There's no Highlander soundtrack, but there is a King of Magic Queen's album, has a number of the songs on it. The one thing that they don't have on it is the New York, New York song that you hear a little bit in the middle of the movie. That was never recorded. You cannot get that, I don't believe, anymore. But this is getting to the last thing. This was a popular aesthetic and device back in the MTV era, where you have rock bands MTV feel, MTV type of style. We can talk about that with Scarlet here.
Yeah, absolutely.
In the films in the 80s, because this was a big thing. MTV had just come on the air, and a few years earlier. If you were around during the 80s, you know what it was like and how exciting it was to watch the videos. You went to school. What video? Did you see this video? Did you see this music video? It was a huge thing. So this really was part of that musical genre in the late 70s and into the 80s. You saw a lot of these films, and I have a couple. And I'm sort of like what I did last week. I'd like to see other people's. I'm going to ask everybody else for some ideas, but movies that really lean into it from that particular era. You have Xanadu. We already talked about Xanadu. You feel that's its ELO, of course. You have several others. You had AC/DC did Maximum Overdrive. I did not see that one. Of course, Flash Gordon. We already talked about that. That was also Queen. Purple Rain came out during this period of time. Of course, Spinal Tap. This is Spinal Tap. Labyrinth had Bowie. So these were all from the sort of that genre. There are other ones. And of course, you have movies like The Doors that capture the music rather than it's a little bit of a difference. But you had this trend during that period of time. Mark Knopfler did Princess Bride music, for example. Of course, that's not the same type of rock. So I'm asking here is there a movie that really captures either MTV or rock music that you loved at the time, or from another era? Like I love the movie Into the Wild, which is all Eddie Vedder music, and it's a fantastic movie. And Eddie Vedder music hits it hard and really makes the movie that much more beautiful and tragic. So I'm asking you, just like I asked my last one. So you guys, can you think of a movie that the music was popular music, rock or otherwise, that really works well with the movie, other than this one?
Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park, where it was like Kiss at the amusement park. Like, I loved that when I was a kid.
What a crappy film, but the concert scenes are so
great.
Good. The concert scenes just kill.
I agree. It's ridiculous, and yet it's so much fun to watch.
We got Vision Quest from somebody in the. Yeah.
I would also say maybe Brimstone and Treacle with Sting.
I don't think I've seen that one.
Yeah.
Ghostbusters.
That was a good one.
Ghostbusters. Oh.
I mean, we've talked about The Doors on this show, and I still absolutely love that movie. And the way they weave the Doors music in and out, but also there's some Velvet Underground and a couple of other bands in there. And really, it's a 2-hour music video in so many ways with lots of drugs.
Oh, the Doors movie?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm in that movie.
Are you in the witch scene?
I'm in the crowd scene at the whiskey.
How fun. I love that movie so much.
I really loved one of my favorite versions of Metropolis was when they redid it. I think it was 86 or 87. They remastered it, and Pat Benatar sang on it. Queen sang on it. I think David Bowie sang on it. So Metropolis, 1927, but also 1987, remastered.
I don't think I've seen that one.
It's good. It's good. Freddie Mercury sings Love Kills, which is brilliant. Pat Benatar, what does she sing? I can't remember, but it's really good.
Okay. All I could think of is earlier than that, just because I'm the biggest Kenny Loggins fan, is Caddyshack, because it was all about Kenny Loggins. So Caddyshack, but that was like 80, I think.
Yeah, the same time.
I guess you could put Blues Brothers on there too, even though that's.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some like music video scenes in Blues Brothers, like when Aretha Franklin is singing, for instance. I mean, that you could just put that right on MTV if you wanted to.
That's true. The late 70s, there's really the musicals came back, but that's different. Even though you had musicals that had more of a modern pop flavor to them, this MTV, using rock music like this was much more of the MTV generation in movies. And I think it's, for me, whenever I think about it, I will think of Xanadu is the first thing that comes to mind. It is a musical, but it has that, or now I'm forgetting, Flash Gordon. Those are the two that probably pop in my head when we talk about this.
Saturday Night Fever.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the Bee Gees all the way. It's
all the way.
It's pop culture for 1977, I believe, is when that one was.
Yep. Well, that's all I have. I just thought that would be a good, fun conversation to get us moving into opinions.
I think that you brought up something really interesting, which is Russell McKay is the director. This is the first thing that he directed, and he directed some of the very best music videos. A lot of the early Duran Duran videos. He did Vienna for Ultravox, like a lot. And he was the one that really came up with these. He had very, I'm fascinated by him because of the way that he worked, where he worked from dreams and symbology, and he would often dream up the music videos and the night before. But you can also, he was the one that had those quick transitions, and you will see like and usually like the camera angled very low, coming in very quickly, like a lot of different quick lighting and quick lighting cuts. Like he really was the master of that. And I think that that's what made this film have its kind of longevity. Like the transitions in this film are so good. And that comes from that whole music video background. And I think that that really spawned kind of like that 80s genre look. And I think we have Russell McKay to thank for that. You know, like people today are always trying to, like the kids today are discovering it and they're trying to do it again. And they never quite get it right. But yeah, he was the guy. That's for sure. And you know, the story is a little weak and the acting is a little weak, but it's shot beautifully.
I think some people mistake now just doing quick cuts and fast movement through scenes they mistake that for what you're talking about. Yeah. Like you see a lot of fast stuff going on, fast shots and going back and forth, but you don't see the dance. No. Which is what music videos had, a dance between the music and the camera movements and the shots, which is not just doing something quick.
Yeah. Yep. No, he was absolutely a master of that. Like his music videos are some of the best that were ever made and some of the most creative. And I think that that's what makes this movie kind of rise above the others. I wouldn't put it on the same level as Conan for the Sword and Sorcery. I think Conan's a better movie, but like this movie has longevity. People love this movie. People still go back to it all the time. Like it's really beloved. There can only be one.
But actually there's 4 and there's actually, and then a series. So there's more than 1.
2 series.
2 series, sorry.
And an anime film. Like, yeah. I have more to say about that later. Like, don't give away the whole joke thing at the end. But I have a lot more to say about that later.
Okay, I will say though,
I probably was the target for this movie when it came out, and I had never seen it before Tuesday. It was a movie. Yeah, I'd never seen Highlander. It was a film that people talked about, and it always felt like a movie that I should watch and I would probably enjoy. But for whatever reason, I never got around to it. I think part of that was because the second was so poorly reviewed when it came out and looked so cheap that it destroyed any sort of interest I had in the franchise altogether.
You never saw it.
Yeah.
I saw it about 20 years ago, but that was because I was a singing blackjack dealer in Las Vegas where I played Freddie Mercury, and I had to sort of get into character and see to experience things in the early 1980s, because I'm so young I was not around in the 1980s.
So you had to watch the movie because you couldn't get the music anywhere else?
Well, I mean, I could. I just, from the album the Who Wants to Live Forever. You could get It's a Kind of Magic. You could get, but I wanted to kind of experience what Freddie might have felt, what he might have seen, and so I watched it about 20 years ago now.
I actually rented it in the VHS store, and I can remember standing at the wall, because you would stand at the wall and you would read through the tapes and you would look at the covers and you'd try to decide, like, make that decision. And every once in a while you'd get something great. And I remember thinking, like, I really dug it. Like, I really dug this film when it came out. And it wasn't, most of the time you'd get something and it was terrible. So I appreciated that. But yeah, I do miss the mom and pop video stores where it's like, you could see some really great stuff and you could see some weird Euro trash stuff sometimes, but it was always kind of a crapshoot. Yeah.
There was a little video store in the little town that I grew up in. Now, I say I don't remember the 80s, but I do. I very distinctly, very much remember the 1980s. But there was a little mom and pop store, a little video store in the little town of like 300 people. And everyone went, and not only was it a video store, she also had an arcade and a candy store. Like, it was all in one. So you could go get your fix in the early 1980s. It was a lot of fun.
I just remember the secret back room in all those VHS stores. And if you were back there and somebody walked out and like you knew them from church or whatever, right? Yeah, it was a scandal.
What am I doing here? What?
I just came here to destroy these tapes. I didn't come to rent them. Yeah.
Buddy, I forgot about that. The secret back rooms.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, they usually had like the tinsel or the hanging beads that you had to go through that made noise so everyone knew.
Right. Exactly.
Funny.
They made it even harder.
I think this film just needed more Sean Connery. When he was there, it was alive for me. I love him. I love him in all his different roles, but this one seemed really special to me. He looked extra handsome to me. He looked all of it. And so when he disappeared for a while, I kind of fell asleep on occasion. Come back. It's another sword fight. Come back. Okay. It's another sword fight. I haven't missed anything yet. It's another sword fight. But more Connery.
I love that Sean's playing a Spaniard who was originally Egyptian, and he's Christopher Lambert is French playing Scottish. Like, those were the days when you could get
the accents were all over the map. They were so off the charts. Like, I don't know where they were going. The guy with the New York accent was the only one that was right.
Exactly.
It's like, what?
I just didn't find Lambert charismatic enough to pull off the lead. And maybe I'm alone in this, but for me, he just didn't have that presence. And especially when you see Sean Connery, because he has that presence. And Clancy Brown has a weird coked up presence, but it's still there. And Lambert's, to me, is sort of a blank slate, and it just don't get excited when he's on the screen.
That's interesting.
And I felt like, and this is probably horrible, but he didn't have a whole lot of lines, and I haven't seen this movie. I hadn't seen this movie since it came out. It was a forgettable movie to me. I saw it, rented it probably, and then was like, forgot about it. It was not my thing. And while I was watching it today, while he was delivering his very few lines here and there, it started to feel like we were in some kind of Terminator loop here. And it's the guy with the accent saying very few lines, pointing throughout the whole time. I'm like, okay, yeah, but it was done better in that movie. So I was like, and Terminator came out in 1984, so it was 2 years before that. So I guess they felt like, okay, let's give this a try. Maybe, I don't know what the choice was, or he was just the last on the list and he was available. I'm not sure, because apparently they really wanted other people. But he was an actor. I think Scarlett, you know him, right?
His daughter was executive producer on a film I did back in 2012, 2013. So, and she has Lilith Films in Paris, and she owns my movie now. But I had like a brief lunch with him. He's very into UFOs. We talked about UFOs the whole time, he was absolutely charming. I think, they probably chose him. He had a lot coming off of Greystoke. Greystoke was a big movie. He's really good in it. He's really good in Subway too. And I think that he just had a lot of push of like international push. And who knows who was available and not available. It could have looked very different. He's a very interesting man. Very French, very elegant. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I knew that you knew him, so I've been worried all day about being mean, and so I apologize.
I had like a lunch with him, but I didn't we don't talk. Do you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
It's like I know his daughter. Yeah.
But you seem to be a fan of this movie, though. I can tell that.
I like sword and sorcery movies. That I've always really dug that genre, and like I absolutely love Conan. Conan is one of my most favorite movies ever, and I love John Milius. But I am a fan of this movie. So if you hate it, it's not going to bother me. It's just that I have a real soft spot for sword and sorcery.
Which one was your favorite sword and sorcery? I missed that.
Conan.
Yeah.
I'm obsessed with John Milius. I think he's a tremendous director and writer. He's one of my favorites.
Also a great soundtrack.
Yeah. Oh my God. The Battle of Polydorus soundtrack. Oh my God. I listen to it all the time. So what were you going to say? Go ahead. Be mean.
Well, I feel like I critiqued like his presence already. And what I felt was a complete lack of charisma. My other problems with this film are just that it felt like the story was never really told in the way that it needed to be told. You're just kind of thrown into these characters. I don't feel like there's enough explanation of what the quickening is, what it means to be immortal, how that works. And I found the back and forth between the ancient Scottish stuff and contemporary very off-putting. That can be done well. I don't think it's done well in this film.
Oh, no, I would agree with you. I don't think that the story is strong in this film at all. Yeah. I see some things I can forgive stylistically, I think is what makes this film so strong. It's most definitely not the story. It's very confusing. It's not well told. There's not good characterization. There's no real character arcs, but even for all of its sins, it's still like highly watchable. And I think it's probably more has to do with the style and the way that it's put together. And it has a real definitive look that I think was very like knock-on important to other movies after it. But I would agree with you. The story is weak. It's incredibly weak. And the fact that this kid wrote this at
Can anyone
UCLA
explain why when someone was
Go ahead.
I think you froze.
Did I freeze?
No.
Richard-Lael froze.
Richard-Lael froze.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, it amazes me that some kid
I'm frozen. I think I'm frozen.
No, we're slipping time and space again. We're slipping time.
I'm bandits.
We're going back in time.
I think I'm back. I'm back. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So, Mystic Shield. Can anyone explain why, when someone was beheaded, why did all of the cars start? Why was there this electrical charge? Why did the body begin to get raptured and then fall back to the ground? Like, what was that? Does anyone know what that is? I don't know what that was.
Have you not watched early 80s heavy metal videos?
No, not really. In the 80s, I only listened to classical music, strictly classical music in the 1980s. I didn't start listening to 1980s music until like 2000.
This really did feel like a Dio video in many ways. And the movie made about as much sense as those lyrics, like Ride the Tiger, right? It very much, it's a good analogy.
Yeah, I did not feel I didn't follow the story. It went back and forth, and I'm like, I must have missed something here, or I must have fallen asleep for a minute. But again, I watched it more like the music video and swordplay, just like that. It was pretty. It was pretty.
I don't like this movie. I mean, I don't. I'm just gonna be like, it was forgettable to me then. I've never really understood the everyone's fascination with it, because like someone just brought up, it is mentioned in Talladega Nights, one of my favorite movies, honestly. And it is, I think he calls it one of the best movie ever made. I think
it won an Oscar for best movie ever made.
That's what the quote is. Thank you. So yeah, I don't think Talladega Nights made Highlander what it is today with all its versions, because the other three came out before Talladega Nights. But yeah, so I am not a fan. I don't, Queen is supreme, obviously. Love Queen in all cases, but that's all I have to say about it. That is good. I did not feel that. I didn't even feel like it really expressed the 80s stuff well. I was like, okay, I'm done. When is this over? And I will forgive movies for all cases. Sean Connery and Queen are the only two things in this movie that I will say. And yes, I will give it to the guy who wrote it. He did it as an assignment in UCLA, a writing assignment in UCLA in film school. So that's pretty cool. And the original story is very different from what I understand. I haven't read it, than what they did here. There's a lot of changes were made. So it'd be interesting to see if that affected the storytelling. Maybe they dropped too much of the original story out, and that would be a good comparison.
I'm sure they probably did, but he also got $200,000 for something that he wrote in school, which is just
amazing. So yeah, creds to him. Sean Connery is always nice to see, and Queen is always nice to hear, and people love it. And I think part of the reason people love it is the same reason people keep coming back to a lot of different magic films or sword and sorcery films. There's sword and sorcery because there's swords. And number two is this idea of being immortal and being able to have this special, waking up one day and having someone say, you are magical, or you have this power. That's compelling in a story. And people keep going back and back to those type of stories as the basis. And I think that's one of the reasons. The imagination that we have of, like, I remember even as a kid and even today, that idea that you have these powers is compelling. Is compelling for a script, is compelling for, a viewer.
It is compelling. However, I would argue from experience, from someone who is much older than he appears, I would not want to live forever. I have lived 1,000 years in this lifetime, and I am so ready to not live another 1,000 years. So if you live forever, you experience people that you love growing old and dying, like the girl that died at 31. She's wearing this old age makeup, and she's like, oh, light a candle for my birthday. And meanwhile, her old age makeup is not old age makeup. But anyway, you have to watch people live and die. And it's sort of the moral of one of my go-to films, Death Becomes Her. Mm-hmm. The original ending of Death Becomes Her is they're dead, but they're living on forever. And they watch people grow old and get happy. And they say, you want to go to Paris? Nah, I've done it. You want to go to London? No, what for? Like, really, what for?
I think the lure of that I'm talking about is less about specifically living forever, but being special, having a power. And like in witch films, they wake up at 16 and find out they're a witch and they have power. That's the standard narrative. For men and for boys in these sword and sorcery films, in these films that about growing up or whatever that we see, especially in the 80s, it's usually about a powerful sword. It could be living forever. It could be something that gives you this power over.
Like The Sword and the Stone, Jason's favorite film.
Especially then we have to do that one, the Disney 1960s Sword in the Stone.
Let's do it next
weekend.
We have
it for your birthday.
Let's do it next week when I'm not here. That would be great.
No, we're gonna wait for you. The best Sean Connery of all time. And my other favorite actor.
Back to the sorry, Patti.
Go.
Back to the Talladega Nights thing that was posed. For a long time, all I really knew about this movie was that I quoted the bits from Talladega Nights. And that my wife and I still do that. We still talk about how Highlander is the greatest film ever made, just because Ricky Bobby said that.
And
I think it gave everything a second life, because those scenes were so very, very funny.
Yeah, for sure.
Any other comments and things about it, or do we have some quotes? We don't have Courtney for quotes, but Jason, you said you picked up a few quotes.
I did. I am fake Courtney. I don't know. I don't wear hats, so I don't know how to do Courtney. With Heather, I like to do the scarf.
If you had a hoodie, you could be.
That's true. That's true. It feels like a long walk to the closet. So I'm not Heather. I'm not Courtney. I usually just steal these from IMDb. Yeah, but whatever. I think the quote that everybody knows is there can be only one, which gets repeated all the time. Ramirez says, the Kurgan, he is the strongest of all the immortals. He is the perfect warrior. If he wins the prize, mortal man would suffer an eternity of darkness. Conner MacLeod, how do you fight such a savage? With heart, faith, and steel. In the end, there can only be one. And I apologize for calling your wife a bloated warthog, and I bid you good day. Another Sean Connery Lambert exchange. Haggis. What's haggis? Sheep's stomach stuffed with meat and barley. And what do you do with it? You eat it. How revolting. I think part of my dislike of the main characters, I find him whiny, like when he says things like, I don't like boats. I don't like water. I'm a man, not a fish. Just in case you were confused.
Merman.
Get your gills working. You have the manners of a goat and you smell like a dung heap. And you have no knowledge whatsoever of your potential. Now, get out. He meets one guy, I guess his name was Sunda. MacLeod, it's good to see you again. It seems like 100 years. It's been 100 years. Patience, Highlander, you have done well, but it'll take time. You are generations being born and dying. You are at one with all living things. Each man's thoughts and dreams are yours to know. You have power beyond imagination. Use it well, my friend. Don't lose your head. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, that was it. Those are the only things that I took. You know, I mean, really, they should have gotten rid of "Don't lose your head." I know why they said it, but like, it just makes the whole thing funny, right? Like, it's just.
It sends me to musical world. That sends me to musical world. Sorry, Jason.
Yeah. Does it?
Don't lose your head. Yeah. But almost everything sends me to a musical at some point.
But I thought, doesn't he at the end of this movie, he becomes mortal, though? He wins and, like, that's his prize. He gets to become mortal and he gets to, like, you know, leave with the girl.
He gets to, like, know everything that everyone is thinking in the whole world and get all the knowledge, and he gets to die.
Yeah.
He gets
What a prize.
It doesn't feel like he's going to do anything good with it. I think one of the things that I have problems with in movies where people are immortal and live a very long time, they don't seem to have that experience of living a long time in their character, right? Like I would think that if I was alive for over 1,000 years, I would be really, really different from a lot of humanity and would probably be unable to relate to a lot of humanity. And, you know, it feels like this guy just kind of goes along, and other than one really nice scene in World War II, he just seems like the same guy he was back in Scotland for the most part 1,500 years ago.
Well, being an immortal, you just didn't have a good emotional range. That could either have been the actor or the thing. Because I even pulled up one quote or just a Conner Rachel exchange, and Rachel's like, "Will you listen to me for one moment? You can't hide your feelings from me." And he just goes, "What feelings?" And that felt more like an actor choice that I don't have them. I don't know.
I think that I think the character was a little bit like Steve Buscemi as one of the cool kids. Hello, fellow youth. I am one of the cool boys. What up?
Yeah.
It just wasn't there.
It was limited, for sure.
Limited.
Oh, I also forgot to mention that this is a Cannon film. And Cannon was a production company that, especially towards the end of its life, became known for super cheap films. And while the budget wasn't terrible for this, they were a very cheap company and took a lot of shortcuts. They are responsible for killing Superman at movie theaters for several years by releasing Superman 4, The Quest for Peace, which originally had like a $35 million budget and then was chopped down to like a $16 million budget. And I think the tagline for that movie is, "You will no longer believe a man can fly," because the special effects were so terrible. So, but as a kid in that era, I remember like seeing Cannon Group before a movie on HBO and thinking, I should definitely be watching something else. This is totally going to disappoint me as a person who watches films. They also did He-Man and the Masters of the Universe movie, which destroyed a toy franchise as well. So they're responsible for a lot of negative things of my childhood for Jason growing up. Killing Superman and killing He-Man. Ugh.
He-Man's coming back, and Superman just came back, so...
It took a long time, Heather. It took a long time.
Well, it happened, though, so it happened. You can read it easy.
I am Dolph Lundgren and I am He-Man. No, you are not He-Man. Get out. Get out. Where's Orko? Get out. Sorry, we'll talk about that in another day.
We'll talk about that later. Well, as we are moving on, do you have a Mankey movie moment on this, Jason?
Of course. But not my best work, because I really didn't like this movie at all, and writing about it just made me mad. The movie Highlander promises there can only be one, and yet that is a complete and utter lie. To date, there have been 4 theatrical Highlander films, 1 made-for-TV film, 2 live-action television series, an animated television series, an anime film, plus comic books and novels. Whoosh. That doesn't sound like one. That sounds like a lot of nonsense. To date, the highest-grossing Highlander film has made a paltry $36 million on a $34 million budget. These movies are so bad that they retconned the second one out of existence, and the fourth one wasn't even deemed good enough for a theatrical release in the United States, airing on Sci-Fi Network instead. Mercifully, there hasn't been any new Highlander material since a comic book in 2017, but no intellectual property is ever dead. I'm sure some Hollywood exec is preparing a reboot of Highlander, probably starring Channing Tatum, to make sure the awful accents that are an essential part of this series continue into the future. And Scarlett told us in the green room before the show that Henry Cavill is the next Highlander and that it's coming very, very soon, after which I turned my mic off and screamed loudly. Oh, and let's get back to the accents. We were promised there could only be one, but Highlander is full of bad accents. Conner MacLeod sounds as Scottish as groundskeeper Willie on The Simpsons. No, I take that back. Willie sounds far more Scottish. At least he's trying. And speaking of Scottish accents, let's take the greatest Scottish accent of all time and turn that actor into a Spaniard, sort of, by way of Egypt, who doesn't sound either Spanish or Egyptian. I just thought he sounded like Sean Connery. Would it have been that bad to just have a character played by Sean Connery be Scottish? And Kurgan, who is immortal, just sounds like a coked-up bully from the Midwest. Bravo, film. Brave and confusing choices here, guys. And back to There Can Be Only One. Oh no, our original Highlander movie can't even settle on what kind of movie it wants to be. It moves haphazardly between the past and the present, doing its best to be a sword and sorcery film and a contemporary action thriller. It fails on both counts. I'm sure someone thought having sword fights at the height of the 80s in New York City would look cool. It doesn't look cool. I think someone took all of the wrong notes from Return of the Jedi, replacing nuanced and dignified lightsaber battles with cartoony and silly-looking sword fights. Watch the Kurgan swing his sword around like a drunken pro wrestler. How fun. I liked my life better when all I really knew about Highlander came from the movie Talladega Nights. Ricky Bobby. Wow, I feel like I'm in Highlander. Jean Girard. What is the Highlander? It's a movie. It won the Academy Award. Oh, for what? Best movie ever made? One day later. By the way, Ricky Bobby, I watched the Highlander movie. It was crap. So he says something worse than crap, but we're a family show. There you go.
Thank you. We know how you will vote on that. Okay, well, we have one thing to do, and you guys in the chat room, we thank you for all your comments here. So now we vote. Wands up or wands down on Highlander 1986?
Watch out for that guy. He might
I'm not going to push the button. I'm not going to push the button. Okay,
I'm surprised, Richard-Lael. I'm surprised.
Richard-Lael loved it.
I did, because the penis mightier.
So we have got.
Wow, I thought it was going to be a party of one, but there's two.
And
It's so awful. The film is awful. But what I enjoyed every second of it was I would make dirty gay jokes about swords, and I would do it in Sean Connery's accent. And the entire time it made me laugh because it was so bad, and I love it.
So I would like to rewatch it with your commentary, and I might actually like the film then.
Then we might. So
we
got
might have to do riff tracks in the future.
2 strong ups, 2 strong downs. Me being the Libra, I am meeting in the middle because I like the music video part of it. Oh, push the button. Oh, push the button. Maybe after our cackle. Push the button. So anyway, what are we doing next week?
We're doing Witchboard next week, the new one, the remake. It's from 2024 or 5. I can't remember. It's just came out. There is another one, I believe. I want to say the original one was 90. Is it 80s or 90s?
It was. I believe it's early 90s because that's the one that has it has Mel Fader. That's the original is great.
Yeah, so that's gonna be we're gonna be talking about the new one. So watch it.
Everybody watch Witchboard, the new one for next week. Join us, tell your friends about us, like us, subscribe us, find us on Instagram. We're everywhere. The Witches Movie Coven. We have our own page now on social media. And anybody have anything coming up before we cackle?
Sure, I'll go. I'm going to be doing 2 classes and locally here at a store in October. I'm very excited about that. We'll be doing one on haunted dolls and then one on puppets, of course. I wish Patti was here with me to join. And also another one on on Wicca. We're going to do a 2-hour class introducing people to what Wicca is and what it's not. So I'm looking forward to starting some classes at a local shop. And I have a couple other things that I can't announce yet, but I will be telling you more about it next week. Oh, and just to let you know, why are there no dolls? Barely any dolls. Look at my empty room because by next week, I'm going to be in my new office. And so I can't wait to introduce you all to my new office.
Wow. That's right. You are doll free there. Wow.
Well, there's only a couple left down at the bottom over here, but Clarabelle's already on the way up, and so are my haunted dolls. They're already headed up. So,
thank you. All right. Well, you guys check out her class. Richard-Lael.
I do have something coming up. So in October, first week of October, I will be teaching at University of Magicus, where we do all kinds of magic, witchcraft, all different kinds of walks. I'll be that. On the 10th, if you are in New Orleans, I'm going to be doing a Mementi Mori. So it's Memento Mori, but it's more tea. We're going to have tea. We're going to have a history lesson on tea and what it does, a history lesson on Victorian mourning, and there's going to be a seance. So you can find me, message me, and it'll be here in this fabulous well, I like to tell people I decorate an early American funeral home, and that is kind of where I am. So on the 10th here in New Orleans, and then of course vampire balls and all kinds of things throughout October. I'm a very busy person in October. It's my Christmas.
It is all of our Christmas.
Oh,
Jason.
yeah.
Tomorrow is my 21st wedding anniversary, which is neither here nor there really in my life as a witch, but it's always amazing that I got that far, probably because I didn't deserve to. And next week to celebrate, we're going to Universal Studios Orlando. So maybe I'll do a little special clip telling you how good or bad the Dragon Riders of Berkland is from How to Train Your Dragon. Not going to Disney because of that travesty right there. Why can't they get King Arthur right? Why is it so hard?
Thank you so much. Okay, Scarlet, let everybody know you have anything coming up where they can find you.
Yeah, they can find me. I'm on Instagram. I also have a website, www.scarletamaris.com. I'm getting ready to direct another music video. The last music video that I did played a bunch of festivals and won some awards, so I'm excited about that. I'm also getting ready, starting Saturday, I'm teaching Witching the Art of Words, which is a creative writing witchcraft series. And I think that's a 9-week series, so I'm looking forward to that. And then we're showing this documentary Shadowland that's playing the festival circuit. We're playing that Saturday night at the Crooked Path. So I'm really looking forward to showing everyone that. And yeah, this is like the crazy season. Like October is right around the corner and there just feels like everything's happening at once. But I'm excited.
Cool. 'Tis the season. Yes, me too. In October, I'm starting out Rock Island Roadhouse in Illinois, Rock Island Esoteric Expo. I'll be doing all sorts of crazy and fun things with all sorts of great people. Then I'm headed to the Levy House filming a seance at a very haunted Levy House in Ventura. Then I'm going to be Scarefest weekend, Lexington, Kentucky. Then I'm going to be at Midwest Paganomic-Con. I said it right for once, in Eau Claire, Wisconsin. Then, of course, heading to New Orleans. I've got a book signing for my new book, Dollcraft, at somewhere at I can't think of the name. It's a tour company, and then I'm going to be announcing my Lizzie Borden Haunted Doll Tea Party very soon, but that's not in October. That's after October. And we have the Haunted Ball, the Vampire Ball. I'll be doing a seance there at House of Blues. And you guys, you could find us everywhere. And if you can't find us everywhere, find us here on Wednesday. Find Richard-Lael and I at University Magicus. Like and follow, and then have some matching outfits. Go to Mystery Control. You can get things like Mystic Shield shirts. You can get Richard-Lael pillows with his beautiful devil face on it. You can get cloaks and blankets and all sorts of and beautiful jewelry now at Mystery Control. So check it out and make sure you watch Witchboard. And do we have any good Sean Connery impersonations left before we leave, Richard-Lael?
Your mother's a whore. I won't say the I'll check the rapist, Alex.
That's the therapist.
Thank you.
Not stirred.
Can we maybe wish our producer a happy birthday too? Because this movie was her pick.
This was Christine's pick. Happy birthday. Our producer Christine.
Now I can't even do it. How would Sean Connery say happy birthday?
Happy birthday, bud.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Christine. They're doing a big party at the Tail of the Pup tomorrow, and I can't go.
Thank you for putting up with us, Christine. We do appreciate it.
And Rob, thank you for getting us here, keeping us here. We have the best producers here. So happy birthday, Christine. On that note, it is time. One thing we do, what do witches do? We cackle. We tell our friends we like, we subscribe, and we cackle. 1, 2, 3. Yeah!